You think you got a good deal on that truck sitting in your driveway right now? But what if I told you that every single mile you drive, it's quietly siphoning cash out of your wallet in ways you'd never even think to look for? Before we tear into the first hidden leak, let me ask you something honest. Have you ever added up everything you've spent on your truck in the last 6 months, not counting the loan payment, and felt genuinely good about the number? Go ahead and drop a nope in the comments if that question just made you squirm. See, most of us in the truck world, we're guilty of the same thing. We fall in love with the stance, the torque, the way that diesel clatters or that Hemi growls, and that love blinds us. We assume that if the check engine light isn't on, everything is fine. But the scariest money pits aren't the ones that break down dramatically on the side of the highway. They're the ones that run perfectly, day after day, while quietly engineering your financial future straight into the gutter. And it gets worse. The very features you paid extra for, the luxury trim, the oversized wheels, the automatic running boards, some of them are engineered to self-destruct right after your warranty expires. That's not a bug. That's a business model. Let's start with the first silent killer, your tires. Not the obvious cost of replacing them, but something much sneakier. I'm talking about misalignment that's so slight you'd never feel it in the steering wheel. Your truck can be just a half degree off in tow angle, and you'll burn through an extra 15% of your fuel at highway speeds. 15%. On a truck that gets 17 miles per gallon, that's like pouring 2 gallons down the drain for every 100 you drive. Over 20,000 miles, we're talking about $500 in pure waste. And here's the part that'll make you mad. Most dealerships won't check this during a standard oil change unless you specifically ask. They'll rotate your tires, smile, hand you the keys, and let you keep throwing money into the wind. But hold that thought, because tires are just the warm-up act. The real monster hiding under your hood is something called thermal cycling, and nobody talks about it. Every time you start your cold engine and drive less than 10 minutes, like when you run to the grocery store or pick up your kid from school, you're creating microscopic cracks in your wiring harness insulation. It sounds like science fiction, but it's real. Those little cracks let moisture in, and moisture creates resistance, and resistance creates heat, and heat kills sensors, one by one. First, it's a lazy oxygen sensor, costing you 3% fuel economy. Then it's a crankshaft position sensor that leaves you stranded in a parking lot. And because modern trucks are computers on wheels, one bad sensor can take down 3 systems that have nothing to do with each other. I've seen a bad ground wire from a cracked harness cause a transmission to slip, a radio to flicker, and a parking brake to lock up, all at the same time. The dealer's solution? Replace the transmission, the radio module, and the brake actuator. $7,000. The real fix? A $40 wire and 2 hours of your Saturday. But you'll never know that, because they don't teach this stuff in school. And it gets worse, way worse, when we talk about oil. Not the oil itself, but the lie we've all been sold about oil change intervals. Your truck's oil life monitor isn't trying to help you. It's trying to hit an EPA fuel economy target. Thicker protective oil hurts mileage, so manufacturers program those monitors to keep oil in your engine way past its safe life. They want you to go 10,000 miles between changes because it looks good on a window sticker. But here's the secret they don't print anywhere. Your piston rings are slowly gumming up with every mile past 5,000. And when those rings stick, oil starts blowing past them into the combustion chamber. You won't see blue smoke. You won't hear a knock. But you will start adding a quart every 1,000 miles. Then every 800. Then every 500. And by the time you notice, the catalytic converter is clogged, the oxygen sensors are fouled, and your engine is burning more oil than fuel. That's a $5,000 repair that started with a lie printed on your dashboard. So let me ask you again, and be honest now, when's the last time you changed your oil? If you're relying on that little percentage display, go ahead and type "guilty" in the comments. I'll wait. But we're not stopping there, because the biggest money drain on any truck isn't even mechanical. It's emotional. It's the decision you made when you signed the paperwork. You see, truck manufacturers have perfected a trick called trim-level engineering. They know that a base model work truck is actually the most reliable version they build. No sunroof to leak, no air suspension to fail, no touchscreen to delaminate. But they also know you want the nice one. So they add complexity at every single trim step. That power tailgate with the dampened opening? There's a little strut in there that costs $300 to replace and fails like clockwork at 40,000 miles. Those fancy LED headlights that turn with the steering wheel? They're sealed units. You can't change a bulb. When one fails, not if, when, that's a $1,500 assembly. And the heated seats? The heating element is woven into the foam cushion. When a wire breaks, which it always does from you sliding in and out, you can't fix it. You have to buy a whole new seat bottom. $800. for heat that you could have gotten from a $20 blanket from Walmart. And here's the punchline they never tell you at the dealership. Most of those features are made by the lowest bidder, not the truck brand you trust. Some little factory in another country that stamps out the same power window motor for Ford, Chevy, and Ram. That's why you see the exact same failures across every brand. The auto-dimming mirror that turns into a purple blob, same supplier. The infotainment screen that develops dead spots, same supplier. You're not buying a better truck when you pay for the high trim. You're just buying more things that can break. And the manufacturers know this. In fact, they plan for it. It's called parts lifetime optimization. That's the polite term for designing a part to fail just after the warranty ends. They literally hire engineers whose job is to make sure a component lasts exactly 36 months and 1 day. Not because they're evil, but because replacement parts are more profitable than new trucks. Think about that next time you're proud of your leather-wrapped dashboard. Now let's talk about the hidden cost that almost nobody factors in, depreciation caused by modern electronics. Remember when a 10-year-old truck was still a valuable tool? That's over. Because today's trucks have more computing power than the Apollo mission, and computers become obsolete fast. Your 2018 truck might run fine, but its infotainment system feels like a flip phone compared to a new one. And that matters to resale value more than engine condition. I've watched identical trucks, same miles, same maintenance, sell for $4,000 apart just because one had Apple CarPlay and the other didn't. But here's the trap. You can't upgrade most of these systems. The hardware is locked. The software is proprietary. So your truck doesn't just lose value because it's old. It loses value because it's stupid. And the manufacturers are counting on that. They want you to feel embarrassed of your perfectly good truck, so you'll trade it in and take on a new loan. That's not a coincidence. That's a revenue stream. And before you think I'm picking on new trucks, let me tell you about a mistake I see people make with older trucks that's even more painful. They buy a high-mileage diesel because they think it'll last forever. And look, I love diesels. But the modern ones with all the emissions equipment, the DPF, the EGR, the DF system, those are not your grandfather's diesel. A single clogged DPF is a $2,000 repair. A failed EGR cooler can take out your whole engine in under a minute. And here's the killer. Most used diesel trucks for sale right now have these systems already failing. The previous owner knew it, so they cleared the codes and traded it in. The dealer auctions it off. You buy it thinking you got a steal. And 3 months later, you're facing a $5,000 repair bill on a truck you just financed. That's not bad luck. That's the used truck market working exactly as designed. The only way to avoid it is to know exactly what to look for, and I'm going to give you that list in just a minute. But first, I need you to do something for me. If you've made it this far, you're the kind of owner who actually wants to stop throwing money away. And that's exactly why I make these videos. So hit that like button right now. Seriously, reach up and do it, because it tells YouTube to show this to more people who are getting ripped off by their own trucks. And tap subscribe while you're there, because in the next video, I'm naming specific model years from Ford, Chevy, Ram, and Toyota that you should absolutely never buy used, no matter how good the price looks. I don't want you to miss that. All right, back to the money leaks. Let's talk about your brakes. Not the pads and rotors, that's obvious. I'm talking about the caliper slide pins. On almost every modern truck, these pins come from the factory with just a skim coat of grease. After one winter of road salt, they seize. And when a caliper can't slide, your brake pad stays pressed against the rotor even when you're not braking. You won't feel it. You might not even hear it. But that one stuck caliper can reduce your fuel economy by 10% all by itself. 10%! And it's roasting your rotor unevenly, so when you finally do brake, you'll get that awful pulsation. Then you'll replace the rotors and pads, spend $400, and the mechanic won't check the slide pins. So the new parts fail in 6 months. Then you blame the brand. You go online and write an angry review. But the problem was never the parts. It was a $2 tube of grease and 5 minutes of maintenance that nobody told you about. This is the stuff that keeps me up at night. Not the big explosions. The 1,000 little cuts. And while we're on maintenance, let me ask you something uncomfortable. When was the last time you changed your differential fluid? Your transfer case fluid? Your brake fluid? If you're like 90% of truck owners, the answer is never, or I didn't know that was a thing. And that's not your fault. Dealerships don't push these services because they're not profitable per hour compared to brake jobs and tire sales. But here's the reality. Your front differential has gears spinning at wheel speed in a bath of oil that gets hotter than you think. That oil breaks down. It collects metal shavings. And when it fails, it doesn't give you a warning light. You'll just be driving down the highway, hear a little whine that gets louder over a few weeks, and then one day, bang, the front wheels lock up. or they stop pulling altogether. Either way, you're looking at a $3,000 rebuild for a fluid change that costs $80 and takes half an hour. But nobody told you, and that's exactly how they want it. You know what else they don't tell you? The truth about extended warranties. I know some of you are thinking, but my warranty will cover all this. And you're right, technically. But here's the catch that the finance manager conveniently forgets to mention. Most extended warranties have a clause called consequential damage exclusion. That means if your failed water pump causes your engine to overheat and crack the block, they'll cover the water pump, the $50 part, and they will not cover the $7,000 engine. I have seen this destroy families. A guy buys a used Ram 2500, buys the top-tier warranty, feels safe. The coolant crossover pipe on the back of the engine, a known weak point, cracks. He doesn't see the puddle because it's dripping onto the exhaust and evaporating. The engine overheats while he's towing his camper, warps the heads. Warranty company says the pipe is covered, but the engine damage is consequential, not covered. He's stuck with a $12,000 repair on a truck he owes $20 on. He has to sell the camper. It's devastating. And it happens every single day because people don't read the fine print. So let me save you right now. If you have an extended warranty, go find the contract. Look for the words consequential, indirect, or resulting damage. If you see them, you don't have a warranty. You have a false sense of security. Now I want to shift gears and talk about something that's going to make some of you angry. But I need you to hear it. The most expensive truck you'll ever own is the one you modify. I love a lifted truck on big tires as much as anyone. I'm not here to judge, but the math doesn't lie. A 6-inch lift changes your drive shaft angles. Those new angles eat U-joints every 20,000 miles instead of every 100,000. Bigger tires weigh more, which means your brakes wear out twice as fast. And your transmission? It's constantly hunting for the right gear because the effective gear ratio is all wrong. I've seen lifted trucks on stock gears burn through a transmission in 40,000 miles. A transmission is $5,000 to $7,000. That lift kit that looked so cool in the parking lot just cost you a house down payment in maintenance over 5 years. And the worst part? When you go to sell it, most buyers won't touch a modified truck. They assume you beat on it. So you get less money for a truck you spent more on. That's the double whammy. You pay more to own it, and you get less when you sell it. The only people who win are the lift kit companies and the transmission rebuilders. And trust me, they're laughing all the way to the bank. But here's where hope comes in. Because once you know these secrets, you can actually use them to your advantage. You can buy the right truck, maintain it the right way, and drive it for 200,000 miles without these money leaks. The trick is to stop thinking like a consumer and start thinking like a fleet manager. Fleet managers don't care about chrome packages or horsepower bragging rights. They care about cost per mile. And the trucks they buy? Base models with vinyl floors, crank windows, and no touchscreen. Those are the trucks that go 300,000 miles with basic maintenance. Those are the trucks that don't have sunroof leaks or power seat motor failures. Those are the trucks that keep their value because there's nothing to break. So if you really want to stop your truck from draining your bank account, ask yourself one honest question. Do you want a truck that looks rich, or do you want a truck that lets you stay rich? Because those are two very different things. And the manufacturers have spent billions of dollars convincing you they're the same. So here's my challenge to you before you close this video. Go outside. Look at your truck. Not with the eyes of an owner, but with the eyes of an investigator. Crawl underneath it. Check those brake caliper slide pins. Look at your coolant level. Smell your differential oil dipstick. If it smells burnt, you've got work to do. And most importantly, stop trusting the dashboard. That oil life monitor? Reset it and change your oil every 5,000 miles anyway. That tire pressure light? Check your alignment anyway. That feeling of safety because your truck is new or under warranty? Stay suspicious anyway. Because the only person who truly benefits when you relax is the person who designed your truck to fail at the perfect moment. If you got even one thing from this video, do me a favor and share it with a buddy who just bought a truck he couldn't really afford. He needs to hear this. And I'll see you in the next one, where I'm going to name names, specific years, specific engines, specific transmissions that are financial suicide to own. You are not going to want to drive another mile until you watch it. So tap that screen right now, subscribe, and I'll talk to you in the next video. Until then, keep your oil clean and your wallet closed.